Welcome to Growing Tall Poppies, Thrive After Trauma. I'm your host, Dr. Nat Green, and I am so excited to have you join me as we discuss what it means to navigate your way through trauma or significant challenges and not just survive, but to thrive after it. This is a space for people who've been through trauma or adversity, have done some healing, and know they're meant for more than just coping. This podcast is about post-traumatic growth, not getting back to who you used to be. Rather, understanding who you are now and learning how to stand tall without shrinking, forcing, or abandoning yourself. Here, we explore identity after adversity, integrity and visibility wounds, nervous system wisdom, and what it really takes to move forward in a way that feels aligned, embodied, and true. You will hear a blend of deep solo conversations and powerful guest interviews with people who have lived this work, not just studied it. Because growth doesn't come from pushing harder, it comes from understanding how you adapted, honouring your nervous system, and gently updating the old agreements that no longer fit the life you're ready to live. If you're ready to stop hiding, stop performing, and start owning who you are becoming, then you are in the right place. Let's grow tall together. Welcome back. I'm super excited today to bring you our next guest on the Growing Tall Poppy podcast. And it's my absolute pleasure to welcome a lovely lady who I've recently connected with. Her name is Ramah Leith, and she has experienced her own trauma and adversity throughout her life and has so generously come here with us today to share some of her own story and how that's led to the amazing work that she now does today. Ramah is a multidimensional healer, health and nutrition coach, confident visibility business coach, and ascension guide. Her multifaceted approach to healing and coaching embodies and blends medical intuition, functional nutrition, lifestyle support, quantum healing, business alchemy, and spiritual connection. So an amazing array of things there. And I'm really excited to welcome her here today and let her share her story with us. So welcome, Ramah.
Thank you. It's such a pleasure to be here with you, Natalie. It's my pleasure.
Excellent. So as we know, our guests have usually been through a fair bit of adversity and trauma. So could we start with you giving us a brief introduction of who you really are in the world and what you do?
Yeah, I would say I'm the complete opposite of who I was about 10 years ago.
Wow.
That's a fair way to start, I think. So my background was, very intellectual, going through the education, getting the degrees, doing all those types of things. So my background is public health, and I taught at universities. I ran multi-million-dollar grants. I worked for state health departments. So I did all this stuff in the public health field. And I was doing that for many years until I had my own health breakdown.
Mm,
Um, and so that's kind of the theme of the topic for today as well, is just how sometimes when we have our own health breakdown or just a disease or some kind of illness or anything that kind of knocks us into thinking there's got to be more to this, and I don't want to live like this anymore with
mm,
either the illness or whatever might be happening. And a lot of people call that a dark night of the soul when they, kind of
yes.
start thinking like, is this all there is? Is there more to this? And so when that happened for me, I really had to take a look at, like, is working a job and working in a world and functioning in a world where it's I'm very focused on, trying to be the best at everything and,
Hmm.
the people pleasing, the perfectionism, the people pleasing, I would put in all the hours just to show that I was good enough, those types of
Yes.
things, which then you deplete yourself because you're not giving yourself the care, you're not giving yourself the love, and the healing that you need. And then eventually your body says, hey, what about me? And that kind of got to be where I was, where I was just in constant pain all the time. I could barely digest any foods at all.
Gosh.
I had autoimmune diseases, so many, many things were going on, and it
Mm.
was just miserable. I was just miserable and didn't know what to do, and had gone to many doctors and, and tried to find out if there was anything they could do to help me. And there really weren't any answers. And it was more like, just try this medication or try this medication. And I just
Yeah.
didn't want to go down that route. And so it was kind of thinking about, there's got to be another way. There's got to be something else out there to heal. And there's got to be more to life than feeling drained, uncomfortable, having no like passion, anymore, or feeling happy and joyful. And so it was kind of like that kind of wake up call, like that there has to be more to this, and there has to be a way to be healthy that doesn't make me have to do a lot of medications, and things like that. There has
Yes.
to be more to that. And so in just a moment of just pure desperation, I was just crying to my husband, like, I can't go on like this anymore.
Mm.
And didn't even think that there was another way that could happen, that could lead me in a different direction. Like, I was just like, this is it. This is how I have to live. And this is all there
Yeah.
is. And he just said, well, quit your job. Let's get you healthy. And I was like, is that an option? Like, I didn't think that was an
Yeah.
option. I was just like, I can't. I've always gotta, like, it's just how I always was raised. Like, you have to prove and be good and do the work and so forth. And not just like freed something in me, for one, like freed that, like, oh, you can jump off you don't have to follow the status quo, you don't have to keep doing these things, but to think I can just quit my job. Like, I'd never really thought of that before, even though I wanted to. And so I quit my job, and then that began my whole process of healing my body, my spirit, my mind,
Mm.
opening my heart, connection to the universe. Like, all the things happened. And it really took that, though, to be able to give myself that grace to
Yes.
figure it out, like, figure what I need to do to be healthy. And like I mentioned, with the public health background, I was very science,
Mm.
science is how I grew up and all that. So to go into starting to learn about metaphysics and spirituality and things like that, that was not on my radar. So I had
No.
no idea about any of the things that I do now. I didn't even know existed,
Isn't
at
it
that time.
funny? Because you definitely, you would have been medical model, science background, so analytical. And as you said, there's a few things that I love that you've touched on already, because most of our listeners will relate that high achieving, high functioning, needing to prove yourself, needing to be busy, and would never consider actually stopping, giving yourself permission. You just push, 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 which, as we know, is why our health eventually, something has to give, because we're getting all these signals for so long and we're
Mhm.
choosing to ignore them. We're not listening, and usually it's a big whack with a sledgehammer over the head to make us actually listen, because we've ignored them. I can so relate, and I know that our listeners, that's where most of them are coming from as well.
Yeah. And I spent so much time hating my body. I was like,
Mm.
I was angry with my body for not working the way I wanted it to, and not looking the way I wanted it to. And we spend so
Mm.
much time not loving our body. And I think that was one of the big things that I had to learn was like I have to like my body's a consciousness. It's I'm like constantly, being mean to it. It's like, hey, let's give
Mm.
me some love. And that was a big part of it was just learning how to give my body love and comfort and being able to value everything it's done for me. It was still hanging in, even though I hadn't I hadn't been like the most
Been
loving to
kind.
it for a long time. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So tell me, your husband says, right, you quit your job. You'd never thought about that. So tell us about that next part of the process, because I imagine there would have been this internal conflict of, can I? No, I can't. Can I? No, I
Mm-hmm.
can't. For quite a while. You didn't
Mm-hmm.
just wake up the next day and go, yeah, okay, I'll quit.
Um, I think because I had really, really desperately wanted to. I mean, he would watch me walk into work just not wanting to be there and just like,
Mm.
oh, another day of doing these things that doesn't bring me joy and didn't even know what joy was. And so I felt like it really was as soon as he said,
Mm-hmm.
quit your job, like it was like I'm gonna do it. Like it was like the next day. I
Wow,
talked to my
excellent.
boss and was like, because I needed to do that. And I just needed that permission because it wasn't
Yes.
something I thought I could do. And that kind of is a disruptive situation in a family when you go from
Mm.
two incomes to one.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I just, let my boss know, and then they kept me on as a contracted employee for a while, and then I got to dictate what I wanted that to look like so that I could phase out, which was great because then I was like, I'm starting my process of healing my body and taking my power
Mm.
and all that kind of stuff. And so yeah, that was really great to be able to kind of move forward. And when I started
Mm.
doing that, I told him as well. So my husband and I tell all of these things too, but I told him I was like, I am going to stop all of my doctor's appointments because they weren't helping, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to stop going to the chiropractor. I'm going to stop doing all this because I'm going to heal myself. And he's like, okay. I'm like, I'm going to do it. Just watch.
I'll prove it
And
to you.
yeah, I'm gonna prove it. And he's like, okay, he knows when I put my mind to something, it's gonna happen, but I
Yep.
had no idea how it was gonna happen.
Mm.
And so yeah, I started really spending a lot of time meditating, sitting in the grass, really sending my body love, completely changed my diet. So
Mm-hmm.
got off a lot of the things that are inflammatory causing, and so forth. And so really changed my diet. It changed my whole lifestyle and really just stepped away from all the stress to do more of the internal healing, the more of the like, just sending love to my body and then trying to live as much of my life with joy and opening my heart. And that was a big thing for me. I
Yeah.
had so many heart walls built up when you're trying to be perfect and you're trying to, all those
Yep.
things. You're like, the heart gets constricted because you're like, I'm never going to be good enough, and worrying
Mm.
about things. And then so I just eventually, started to break down those heart walls through gratitude and
Mm-hmm.
appreciation and gratitude for everything around me, from the people around me, my experiences, and just really gratitude for the birds, gratitude for the flower, just really bringing in that state of gratitude, which really helped me open up and feel more aligned with the universe and the people in my life. And I feel like that was really really an important part, was to break down those heart walls and let me light out and let the light in.
Mm. And that's a really powerful, simple step that our
Mm.
listeners could take just if they're thinking, oh my God, I'm people pleasing, perfectionist. I can't just do this. Start with something little like gratitude for things that are around you. Just look for the little things, connect to nature, connect to the things that are simple, and it's a great place to start. So then what did you start to notice?
Oh man, so many things happened, and I mean, when you look back, it sounded quick. It didn't seem as quick at the time, but so meditating, sitting in nature, enjoying nature, gratitude, all of this just became like my very lifeline daily practices.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and eating healthy and so forth. And while I was in that state, I started like listening to podcasts and listening to summits and
Mhm.
reading all the books and, all the stuff about spirituality and about healing and metaphysics and um, just everything that I could get my hands on or I would
Mm.
find. So I really became I almost went a little too overboard because it kind of became my new job was like the
Okay.
now I need to know everything about all of this other stuff. And then I had to pull my reins back on that too, because I was like, I want to hear every speaker and I want to, like
Mm.
everyone's got so much information that I need to have that I didn't know, because it was a whole new world opening for me. So through that process, I found a medical intuitive and I heard her
Mhm.
on a show and she was because I had so much physical pain that she did a modality as a medical intuitive called galactic chiropractic.
Okay.
And I was like, I've never heard of that before. I'm
Mm.
gonna try that. That sounds fascinating. Um, and so I signed up with her and I had a session with her and it was remarkable because the way she worked, I felt very aligned with everything that was happening. Like I was seeing things, like all this stuff
Mm.
was happening, and I'm like, this feels very natural to me. And didn't understand why, but I was like, all of this sounds and seems very familiar.
Okay.
Um, and I didn't know why, but I was like, okay. And through this whole process, I'm getting better. I'm not having the pain anymore. Like all of my symptoms are starting to go away. I'm
Mm.
digesting food now. Like all the things started happening that brought me back into a better state of health. And then that same medical intuitive that I started following after that, she ended up teaching a course. And at the time, I was like, I'd kind of, since I had this session with her and I started opening up to everything, she calls in guides and angels and she has a whole team. And while I was doing my meditations and in the grass and, feet on the ground, doing all that stuff,
Yep.
they started coming to me and talking to me like telepathically. And I was just like, is this real? I mean, I was like, I don't know, is this real? I was very
I'm hearing
confused at the
voices.
time. Yeah, I was like, am I losing my mind? I was a little concerned a little bit, because they were coming to me and talking to me like full on sentences. They're
Wow.
communicating. And I tell my husband and I'm like, okay, am I crazy? Like it, because he didn't, this was all new to him too. So
Yes,
we
of
were both like,
course.
is what's happening? And at the same time, I started seeing like bubbles of light, and I started seeing all these lights, and I was going to the eye doctor, and I'm like, is something going on with my eyes? And they're like, we can't find anything. So like all of these things just started happening, which was, of course, my
Mm.
third eye was opening. I was being connected to the universe and the guides and angels. And so all of this really opened up and it took me a while to completely believe what was happening, but then when I did, um, so much more came through, like so much more healing,
Okay.
so much more connection. It was just amazing and beautiful. And then that same medical intuitive offered a instructor, to be an actual practitioner, so
Hmm.
a course. And at the time I was like, well, yeah, I'm got guides here now talking to me and stuff, but like, is this something I could do? I don't know. Even though I felt very aligned with the modality, I was like, I don't know. And then I just was like, hey, you just got to try. Like, and this has kind of now become my motto. It's like courage before clarity. Just jump in and see if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but at least you tried, and like I'm sure you're going to get something out of it anyway. And so I just said, okay, I'm going to do it. And in no time at all. So as soon as we started practicing, it all happened. Like everything came online. So it was exactly as it needed to be. So as soon as now you're working on someone, and then all of a sudden everything came in for being able to do the medical intuition and the quantum healing and tying in that nutrition and stuff. And yeah, so it was really beautiful. And then I went on to get more training as a
Hmm.
functional nutrition coach
Okay.
because I was like, I'm helping them, I'm
Hmm.
helping clients and I'm finding what's going on. and transmuting and working with the guides. So the guides come in and they're the ones that actually do the work, so they're they're showing me things and they're the ones doing the work. But then I was like, I want to help people to continue this after our sessions and give them real life lifestyle changes, because that was part of my healing, was
Mm-hmm.
the diet, the
Of course.
lifestyle,
Yeah.
getting my head clear, getting in my heart, all those types of things. So I wanted to help other people to be able to have those um, other options to kind of heal themselves and get better and feel more aligned. So that kind of led into the coaching part of my business. And yeah, so that's kind of how it happened. And so,
Wow.
yeah, been
And
great.
really, to look at where you were to where you are now. So you talked about wanting, you knew you needed to open your heart and you'd had all these heart
Mm.
walls and you need to bring them down, but you definitely opened your mind as well in a way that it sounds like you didn't even think you could.
I had no idea about any of this. Yeah, like
Mm,
I always thought that there was angels, things like that were happening. But I just didn't think that any of them were there for me. I'm like, oh, they're there for other people. But like they weren't there for me. So I think that was another thing to know, that not only are they there for me, but they're there for all of us. But then they're also going to help me to, awaken, heal, and be able to heal others. And I
mm.
was like, I mean, how much more of a gift can this
Ah,
be than to have that, right? Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, because I think, the guests that I get on the show, we have some sort of adversity or trauma. And our dark night of the soul is then what shapes where we move forward to. And I love that so much, that professionals who often have been taught that we can't share this deep part of ourselves, we keep that, we're these professionals on pedestals, so we keep all that hidden, are now coming on here and saying, hang on, I'm going to show up as a real me. I'm not
Mhm.
special. This is what happened. I've had a hard time as well, and this is how I have navigated it, and I want to help do that for you too. So I love that so much.
There's just that we so much more available to us that we just didn't know was
Yes.
available to us. I mean, hundreds of years we probably knew it was available to us, but it's been kind of taken out of our, out of our reality now. We've kind
Mm,
of given our power away to the medical system and,
yeah.
medications and things like that. And getting back to what is innate in us, that we are able to heal ourselves. And the earth provides herbs and food and things that can nourish our bodies and so forth. So getting back to the way it used to be is kind of
Mm,
where I feel like I've gone. And I feel most of the things I thought were reality, I think completely different about now.
isn't that
Which is
funny?
kind of crazy to be like, oh my gosh, all of these things have given, my thoughts and beliefs about so many things have changed. And
Mm.
I think it's in the right direction because I'm a lot healthier and happier now. So,
Yes, definitely. And I know there's one part of your bio that I didn't read, but I'd like to touch on because I think it's also really important that
mhm.
you said, what the stuff that you sent me, that you were actually legally blind and
I am
extremely
still.
sensitive since birth.
Yeah.
And so you already had this underlying stuff going on. So did you want to share a little bit about that as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So, it's genetic. So I was born and have always been legally blind, and it's a hidden disability. So people don't look at me and know that I can't see very well.
Mm,
And that was one of the other things with being the perfectionist, because not only was I trying to be perfect because I wanted to be accepted, but like even more wanted to be accepted because
mm,
I had a disability that, made things much more difficult for me. And, there's accessibility things at work, things that made me feel like maybe people wouldn't think I'm as good at something as everybody else, because it was more difficult for me to do
mm.
what I needed to do. But I adapted, and I adapted a lot. But then I think that also made it so people didn't realize how much of a strain it was on me to function in the world where you can't see.
Mm,
but you're still
exactly.
navigating the world that's for sighted people,
Yeah.
the
Yeah. So,
normal.
what about now? The
Mm.
impact. Now, you've done all this other healing work and had all this amazing, third eye open and things. How has that changed overall how you show up and function in the world?
Well, the beautiful thing is, I don't really need to see very well to do the work I do now.
Mm.
So, and I did go to a channeler when I first started my awakening, and she said, I was like, is that something I can heal? Will I ever be able to, heal and it's the nerve from the eye to the brain didn't
Okay.
develop. And
Hmm.
and plus I got nearsighted as I got older. But so she was like, "No, you're not going to be able to do that, but that's why you need to focus on opening your third eye." Because at that time when I saw her, I mean, I was nowhere near anything, and she just kept saying, "You need to." This is funny because at the time I took it literally because that's what I did back then.
Yeah.
And she said, you have a PhD of the mind. And I was like, oh, that's nice. I don't have a PhD, but I guess you're telling me I'm being smart, but no, that is not what they meant. They were just like, get the heck out of your mind and get into your heart. It's like you're focusing too
Mm.
much and ruminating and thinking and worrying, and to get really into your heart. And then it was like, oh, you're not going to see with that because you need to open your third eye. So this is another reason, and what your destiny was to be able to use your other gifts and be able to see that way. So
And
yeah,
I
so
think,
that's how that
you know,
happened.
the irony's not lost on me with
Yeah.
that we often are sent things like you worked in public health and you had health issues, but you also have sight issues and
Hmm.
you needed to open up your third eye. So, I've worked for 35 years in trauma and I had a major trauma experience. So these things are not coincidental, I don't think.
No, I don't think so. And I think the big thing is the contrast is like there's always going to be that contrast that happens. And if we aren't, you know, in a kind of sometimes a dark place, you can't see the light and you can't move in that direction. And so, that's why it's often the dark night of the soul or something
Mm,
that happens to us health wise or career or something, a loss of someone or something, that kind of wakes us up because we see the opposite and we want
mm,
we want it better than that. So yeah, I agree.
yeah.
The destiny is not lost on me that we we get the opposite of where we want to go, and then we
Exactly.
takes
But
us in that direction.
and then, funnily enough, when we've been through the experiences, they become such profound learnings and lessons and a gift, I think. What do you think about that being actually a gift?
Oh, I completely agree. I mean, of course, in the moment, it doesn't feel like that.
No,
But yeah, right.
not
I
at
know,
all.
no. But that's where the courage comes in. That's where the like, I know, and the trust in yourself and the belief in yourself
Hmm.
and just taking that next step. And as long as you can see that you can move forward and anything is possible. And I think that's what we are going to be shown dark things.
Yeah.
So again, so that we can see that contrast and so we can choose something different and we can, move into a different way of living or believing or seeing because so much of it is our perception too. We have this perception that kind of ties us into the hard life, the fear, the worry, all those types of
Mm,
things. And sometimes when we can look at it like, that happened for a reason, it makes things a lot easier.
yeah, yeah, definitely. So, would you say there's any specific attributes or personal qualities that you see as being key for helping someone move from trauma through into post-traumatic growth?
Yeah. Um, I think that it really is believing that it can happen, like believing that you can be your own healer.
Yeah.
Um, because when we are giving away our power to others,
Mm-hmm.
it makes it really hard to feel we have the autonomy, the authority, like any of those, being the authentic self, to be able to do that and make those changes. And I think when we can realize that we do have the power within us, that allows us the freedom to figure out how that works, like to figure out where to go with that. Um, and we can learn different modalities, but the
Mm-hmm.
options of just figuring out how to open your heart, figuring out how to love yourself, figuring out how to connect with nature and just give yourself time to breathe and relax and enjoy your life. Like, I feel like so much of us just have been kind of working, 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 that we forgot that playing and joy and
Mm,
laughter like is seriously the best medicine. That's what we need to heal, is to have those kind of moments. And
definitely.
so trying to
So,
find that as much as possible.
yeah. So, when all of this happened, and then you went down these rabbit holes to work out how you could heal yourself, how long was it from there to feeling like you had connected to your joy and had healed yourself?
I'd say the journey started, I mean, it really didn't take as long as it was probably like 2 years, but within even just a couple weeks of changing my diet, not working anymore, I already felt like a serious change in my body. And so the pain in my joints and everything started to subside.
Mm,
So it really kind of started happening pretty quickly once I made that decision.
okay.
But then, and so much of it is about raising your vibration, your frequency, and bringing yourself into a higher state of health. But there are moments when we can have, we can fall back too. So then there's moments where you're like, wow, I'm feeling a little tighter today, like things like that, because our nervous system still gets
Mm-hmm.
overstimulated sometimes. We
Exactly.
still can go into that, like, oh, what's happening? And so we just have to pull ourselves back out of that. But that's part of existing, because we can't, we're not living in a bubble. Like, the world is
No,
happening around us and we're still part of it. So,
this perfect world where nothing terrible happens.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
can't imagine what that would be like. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So tell me now what life is like for you so we can contrast how it was all through to what life looks like now for you and what you do.
Yeah. So, I mean, just completely opposite, just the most completely opposite of where I was. I mean, even 6 years ago.
Mhm.
Um, So now I live every day with joy. I feel excited to wake up. I feel excited to be in my environment. And my husband and my relationship has gotten so much better. We've gotten so much closer and grown so much together. I have a very different worldview. Like, I
Mhm.
I used to be like, no, that's not true. No, like I used it, but now I'm like, I'm very open to pretty much everything. I'm just like, okay, well, I've been told that wasn't real, but I'm like, but I didn't think this was real, so I'm kind of open to like a lot more things than I used to be. So, yeah, so it really has opened me up to being more open,
Mhm.
um, really exploring so much more out of life and not being as rigid, like you have to do it this way and you must, have the 8 to 5, or, whatever it is, but really being able to focus on like, what is it that I can do to be of service to others that
Mhm.
also fills my heart and my soul and fills my cup. And then being able to be very cognizant of what's going to then deplete you too. And like being like, okay, well, I'm not going to go there as much, because I can be more aligned with what my energies and my body needs, and much more aligned with my body. So, get the clear signals and kind of figure out what that means and be able to move forward. So, adjust as needed. So, that is very different than how I used to live. And
Mm.
now, having clients that I'm able to assist, that are going through similar things where, all of them come to me that have pain. So they have some kind of pain, some kind of digestive symptoms,
Mm-hmm.
the gamut. Cancer, I've had people with pretty much every illness that you can think of. And then being able to help them with not only the medical intuition and the quantum healing, but then also the lifestyle and helping them with their diet and helping them with their cortisol and helping them, all the different situations that they might be going through is just giving me this whole new sense of purpose,
Mm.
and sense of feeling aligned that this is what I actually came here for. Because I was, in a health field. And so I was very tied to that. I was always
Mm.
very tied to like wanting to be healthy and help other people be healthy. And at the end, when I was end of like the career, I was doing spreadsheets and I was,
Gosh.
running grants and things. And I was like, that is so far away from what I actually wanted to do, which was to help people and be there to be of service. Um, that it didn't have it took away all my happiness basically because I was doing something that wasn't aligned. But I always wanted to be in the health field. So it gave me the opportunity to use the third eye because I wasn't using
Mm.
the eyes, and then to be able to bring in a state of healing where I can work one-on-one with people and really bring them into a state of being where they feel good about themselves and aligned and healthy and happy and joyful. So, yeah, I don't know if there's anything more than I could ask for than to be able to do that to assist someone that way.
Ah, I love that so much that it really has come full circle that
Hmm.
you've wanted to help people, you've always had an interest in health, and you've had to go through all of this to really nail what you're doing now as being your purpose in this world. I
Yeah,
love it.
absolutely. Yeah, very different than how it started. But again, this wasn't, I mean, maybe it was a thing, but I didn't
Mm.
know about it, like it
Yeah.
wasn't anywhere in my consciousness. So yeah, so it opened up in divine timing for sure.
And I think as well, like to give it the perspective that you had done a lot of training and academia doesn't focus on this woo woo weird stuff, does it? It's very
Mm-mm.
much about evidence based science and a real medical model. And so that wouldn't have been on your radar. It wasn't on my radar. It
Mm-mm.
was you go to uni and you do all these courses and you do these things and then you apply that knowledge. But as you said, and I'll go back to that, that you said that you really were, your PhD in your brain. And most of the people that I work with or that listen to the podcast and connect with us are very much in their head, overthinkers, and we've disconnected from our other brains, the head, the heart, and the gut.
Mm-hmm.
And by you having these realizations, you were able to get out of your head and drop into your heart space and open that up fully.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when I get guests on, we often talk about that and we talk about some level of spirituality being one of the things that has helped them move from trauma to post traumatic growth. Doesn't matter what that spirituality is and what it is you believe in. That's irrelevant. It's what spirituality means for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, there would have been I don't know how any of this could have happened if I hadn't opened up to the spirituality. And I had always, I mean, I didn't grow up religious or any of
Hmm.
that, but I always had this belief in spirituality. I just didn't quite understand it. Like I didn't know that much about it. I just was like, I know I'm more spiritual. I believe in these other things that
Hmm.
maybe isn't as religious focused.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it definitely opened up a lot when you are able to see what's beyond the veil. Like that there's so much more out there
Yeah.
and there's so much more love and support than we could have ever imagined.
Oh,
And
definitely.
they're wanting to help us, like they are loving us unconditionally and wanting to help us all the time. So just that even knowledge of that breaks down the heart walls, right? Because you're just
Yeah.
like, I didn't know I was lovable enough to have, all of this around me supporting me. So yeah, it's beautiful.
Oh, I love that so much. So, as we move to wrapping this conversation up, I'd really love for you to share with our listeners where they can find you and find out more about you online.
Hmm. So my website is Healing Words with Rama,
Hmm.
healingwordswithrama.com. I'm also on YouTube, Healing Words with Rama, and Ramah Leith, my name on Facebook, so they can find me there. And I also create summits. So I have a summit coming up in June. I'm not sure when this is going to air, but June 22nd through 26th. And it's called Health, Wealth, and Quantum Alignment, moving the
Beautiful.
3D body into the 5D flow. So very excited. It's
Oh,
going to be,
yes.
there's amazing guests on it as well. I'm very excited to share it with everyone. And again, that's how I learned so much in the beginning was on summits. And so um, I'm just blessed that I get to be able to do this now. And again, paying it forward, being able to share these amazing people that inspired me and to be able to share them with others. So that is will be 3D body, 5D flow will be how you can register. So that's coming up June 22nd through the 26th. So that's
Beautiful.
another way that people can connect with me and just find out a little bit more about all the wonderful, beautiful options and things and healing modalities out there for all of us.
And I think, yeah, having that open mind to just see what's out there. If you try
Mhm.
something and you don't like it, try something else. So I love the idea of a summit. There will be some
Mhm.
things that people love and some that they don't connect to, but by having a variety of options, it
Yeah.
really opens the door to find what works for you. So I will put all that information in the show notes and we'll make sure this airs maybe late May so that people can connect and keep it in the forefront of their mind so that
Perfect.
they register and join you in your summit. That would be beautiful. And I know you mentioned before we came on that you also very generously offer a free gift. So I'd love you to share a little bit about that as well.
Yeah. So I have when I work with people and do the healings, it is a meditative experience. And so I take them into a meditative experience and it's called my business is called Healing Words with Rama because I'm really um walking them through what I'm seeing. So I'm, telling them what the guides are showing me and they always show beautiful imagery and crystalline light and gold and all these different kinds of crystals and stuff like that in the healing
Beautiful.
activations. And so this is a meditation that's a chakra healing meditation, and it's called Peace, Connection, and Alignment.
Hmm.
And so it's one where I was having the guides came in and we were working on things, and so it's a beautiful, beautiful aligned meditation that just has all this beautiful imagery, and the guides are coming through and really very much supporting everyone who's going to listen.
Oh, wonderful. We'll definitely put that in the show notes and along with how to connect with you so people can go and try that. I'm really excited. I'm going to definitely listen to that.
Oh, good, good.
My brain always needs a way of slowing down and having some sort of meditation.
Yeah.
So that's exciting. So thank you so much for joining us today. I always ask one question at the end of all my guests, and I'd be interested to see how you answer this. So, what do you think your younger self would think of what you are doing today and what you've achieved?
Oh my gosh, my younger self would be so happy. I mean, I feel like the younger self was the one that I left behind for all those years. Like that was
Mm.
the kid that liked, I mean, I liked healing people then. Like if someone was sick, I wanted to help and just had so much joy as a little person, a young person that playing and having that I had to leave behind for so many years. And
Mm.
so I feel like that young person has reemerged as an adult person.
Oh, I love it.
Yep, and she gets to live that kind of magic life that she always wanted to live.
Ah, I love that. And I just love that that brings so much hope to people that we usually have known that person in the past, but we've
Mhm.
disconnected from that little child. And I love that's why I asked that question, because it's about reconnecting to that inner
Yeah.
joy and something, that little spark that was there that we've lost a lot of the time.
Mhm. So true. So
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and your experiences with us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been really fun. Thank you.
Awesome. Bye for now. Thank you for spending this time with me on Growing Tall Poppies. My hope is that today's episode has offered you something more than insight, that it's helped you feel a little more connected to who you are now, a little more trusting of your body, and a little more permission to stand tall without shrinking or forcing yourself forward. Post-traumatic growth isn't about fixing yourself or returning to who you once were. It's about understanding how you adapted, honouring your nervous system, and gently choosing what no longer needs to come with you. New episodes of Growing Tall Poppies are released weekly, every Tuesday, and I'd love for you to continue walking this path with us as we explore identity after adversity, integrity and visibility wounds, nervous system wisdom, and what it truly means to grow forward, grounded, aligned, and embodied. If this episode resonated, I invite you to subscribe, follow, share it with someone that you feel might need it, or simply take a quiet moment to reflect on what's ready to move forward for you. You can also find me on Instagram at Dr. Nat Green, on Facebook at Dr. Natalie Green, or over on YouTube at Dr. Nat Green. And remember, you don't need to rush, and you don't need to hide anymore. Stay connected, stay true, and keep standing tall like the tall poppy you are. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now.